Welcome to the GSMC Pets Podcast, the show that caters to pet lovers of all kinds. We'll talk about pets on social media, pets doing amazing things, and how to take care of the pets in your life. Whether your pet is a dog, a cat, a llama, hamster, reptile, or something more exotic, you'll find educational and entertaining information on the GSMC Pets Podcast. Hello and welcome to the GSMC Pets Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Sarah, and I hope you have had a wonderful week since I spoke to you last. Again, I'm going to say I hope you are staying home, staying safe, helping to flatten the curve. If you are an essential worker, once again, I will say thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do, whether that is in the medical field or in the essential services fields like delivery or grocery store worker or any number of things that require people to go out and put themselves at risk so the rest of us can stay safe. Thank you so much. Last week, I talked a little bit about pets and mindfulness, and it made me realize that a while back, last summer, I believe, I did an episode on the GSMC Health and Wellness podcast about the health benefits of pets. And so since I spoke about it last week, I wanted to share that with you here on the GSMC Pets podcast. So that is going to play now. You will hear some references to the GSMC Health and Wellness podcast. Just know that that's because that's the way I recorded this episode last summer. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll check back in with you at the end of the episode. So we're going to be talking about the health benefits of pets. Obviously, having a pet, if you are allergic, might not be the healthiest thing, but there are a lot of health benefits to owning a pet. We're going to talk about some of those benefits. We're going to talk about service animals and emotional support animals, what exactly those are, how they differ, etc. So it's a pet-centered episode, and I wanted to start with my own experience of pets. I didn't really have a pet growing up. We did have a cat. She was my sister's cat. My father found her in the dump in our hometown when I was, 5 or 6. She was so small that she could fit into his shirt pocket. So he put her in his shirt pocket and brought her home. A little calico that my sister named Callie. So if I was 5 or 6, my sister was probably 12 or 13. Maybe she was a little older, so maybe I was a little older. At any rate, I was fairly young and she was a little older, and she became the cat's mommy. She fed her with an eyedropper, and this was obviously why the cat loved her. The cat did not love me. This cat, she was not a sweet cat. She was a fat, spoiled cat, but we loved her, and she loved my sister. But my brother, brothers. My brother would get up earlier than I would in the morning, and he would sit, especially in the winter, he would sit in front of the wood stove. We didn't have central heating when I was growing up. We just had a wood stove, and of course the cat liked to lay next to the wood stove or under the wood stove, and that was her favorite spot to be if she wasn't in my sister's bed, or pooping under my bed. But my brother would get up, and he would also sit by the stove, and he would play with her in a really feisty and aggressive way and get her all riled up. And, not mean or anything. He was just feisty. He would get her all riled up so that by the time I got up, I would wake up, and I'm not a morning person, so I would stagger out of my bedroom, groggy and incoherent and barely awake, and the cat would just make a beeline for me and attack my ankles because she had gotten so riled up from my brothers playing with her. So every morning, this would be my wake-up call. I would be groggy, I'd be sleepy, I'd come out of my room and down the hall, and then I would end up running screaming to the bathroom where I would slam the door so that the cat could stop attacking me. Pet ownership was not really my greatest experience growing up. My mom is terribly allergic to cats, as am I now. She is much more allergic than I am, and I'm really allergic, but she took one for the team, and she got allergy shots for the time that we had the cat, and we had the cat until I was in junior high, so we had her for a good long time before she died. That was my experience of pet ownership. I loved her, and she was my sister's cat, and that was fine. But but that was it. We didn't have a dog. We didn't have fish or anything. And I didn't really want a pet necessarily when I got older. I got married, and my husband said he wanted dogs. And he wanted pets. My husband would have a menagerie /zoo/farm if we had the space. He wanted pets, and I was like, no, not really interested in pets. In a previous relationship, he had 3 iguanas and 3 rabbits that all lived together happily and roamed around the house. And he litter box trained all 6 of them. Yep, litter box trained rabbits and lizards, iguanas. I certainly did not want 6-foot iguanas wandering around my house. So we compromised I don't know if we compromised or if he just threw iguanas at me to get what he really wanted, but we got 2 bearded dragons, and eventually about a year and a half later got a 3rd bearded dragon, which I was like, yeah, fine, they can stay in their terrarium and I don't need to deal with them. And now I post pictures of myself on Instagram snuggling with the dragons, and I give them baths every day, and you would be surprised at the personality that bearded dragons actually have. You might not think they do, but they do. Then, after he slipped the bearded dragons under my defenses, he started talking about getting a dog, or dogs, 2 or 3. And I was like, no, I don't want a dog. They jump, they lick. I don't like dogs. I've never liked dogs. Do not want a dog. And he's like, no, come on, we can get a dog. You'll love dogs. They're great. And I was like, no, we're not getting a dog. And he loves to tell this story. He loves to tell people how I was adamant that we weren't going to get a dog. And if we got a dog, if I did cave when we got a dog, it was not going to be an inside dog. It could be an outside dog. I mean, we live in California. It's plenty warm. It could be an outside dog. And if it was, when it did come inside, it was not going to be on the furniture. It was not sleeping with us. None of the above. No. Well, the neighbor across the street had a dog who had puppies. And my husband said, let's just go look at them. They were Chihuahua puppies. And they were 8 weeks old. And they were so cute. I do love puppies. I mean, who doesn't love puppies? He's so evil. He knew what would get me. Never wanted a dog. Still didn't want dogs. And we ended up getting 2. 2 dogs, a boy and a girl. Never been apart. Then we got them. They were litter mates. Actually, they were first and second born in their litter, and we got them. And my husband named the boy dog Chalupa Batman, and I named the girl dog Tallulah Cooper. And now we have 2 dogs, and they sleep in the bed with us. They aren't allowed on the furniture, but only because they get hair everywhere. They are inside dogs. I am the one who brings them to bed with us because they're so cute. And I love them. And I now understand why people love their pets so much. I mean, I have such a tender heart, and I love kids. I love babies. I love my nieces. I'm loving. And so I don't know why I didn't think I would ever have a pet. I never really had a problem with other people's pets, except that they frequently make me sneeze depending on what they are. But I was not getting a pet. And now I understand. I have been watching a show that I discovered. No, I think my hubby discovered it. Anyway, I've been watching. It's called Dr. K's Exotic Animal ER. It's on Discovery, and she is in Florida and treats only exotics, no dogs, no cats. And so you see bearded dragons, you see skunks, kikachus, a lot of prairie dogs, ferrets, rabbits, guinea pigs, just everything but dogs and cats, a lot of birds, and I am hooked. I love this show, and I love to watch people interact with their pets and how they love those pets. And they're often saying, people don't understand when I talk about how I love my insert pet here. But it's just like a dog or a cat, and you grow to love them, whether it's a snake or a turtle or a Kikachu or there was a kangaroo on the episode. I mean, there's been so many different exotics on there. Again, a lot of rabbits and ferrets and guinea pigs and some of the more common exotics. But I realized that I am just a giant animal lover. I don't know where that came from. I didn't even have a dog till I was almost 40. And here I am. My husband loves to tease me because I love those doggies, and I'm the one that always brings them upstairs to bed with us. And I spoil them and dress them in little outfits. Not always, but I take pictures of them and post them on Instagram and Facebook and make my friends look at pictures of my dogs and make my friends look at pictures of my bearded dragons. And I'm a dork, but I do understand that there are health benefits that come with having a pet. That was a very long introduction, but now you understand where I'm coming from, and I do realize that there are things about having a pet that are very beneficial. So when we come back, we are going to take our first break now. When we come back, we'll be talking about some of those health benefits of pet ownership. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, and I will be right back. As we go to break, I do want to talk to you about Care Of, a vitamin service that delivers personalized vitamins and protein supplements directly to your door. If you haven't heard of this service, you should definitely go to takecareof.com and take their easy 5-minute quiz. The quiz asks you some great health questions about your nutrition goals, your health goals, what you are wanting to improve, what you have concerns about. Again, it's easy. It's 5 minutes. And once you take the quiz, then they give you a personalized recommendation for vitamins that you can be taking, supplements that you can be taking. And you can look through their recommendations, see if you like what they have, or if there's other things you would like. You can go through their catalog and choose other supplements that you may be wanting, for instance, a multivitamin, or maybe you want more calcium in your diet, or your doctor has told you to get more iron, etc. You can order those from the site. It is great. They've got great organic ingredients. They've got vegan and vegetarian options for vitamins and protein supplements. Everything is intuitive, easy to use, and personalized. Then the vitamins and the supplements are sent directly to you. You don't have to go out. You don't have to go wander the vitamin aisle or the health food store or what have you. You can have them delivered directly to your door. And even better, not only can you take care of your own health, you can help to take care of the health of the planet, because all of their packaging is now compostable. Yes, compostable. So that is wonderful. If you are interested, definitely go to takecareof.com. And for a limited time only, if you enter the promo code SOCIAL, SOCIAL, you will get 25% off of your first order. Again, that is takecareof.com and enter the promo code SOCIAL. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. I just gave you a huge confession about my my secret love of pets. It's not the secret life of pets. It's my secret love of pets that I didn't actually know that I had until my sneaky husband brought pets into our lives. And now I watch Dr. K and I want all the animals. All the animals. I don't know if that I want the menagerie / zoo / what did I say, farm that my husband would have, because I don't know that I have the energy to take care of that many animals. But I understand the draw now. At any rate, we are going to, as I said, talk about some of the advantages or the health advantages of having pets. This is an article from the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, about pets and people. And they say that there are, in fact, many health benefits of owning a pet. They obviously can increase opportunities to exercise, get outside, and socialize. So if you've got a dog that needs to be walked, then that can be a good excuse to get out and walk more. Pets can help manage loneliness and depression by giving us companionship and some interesting things. So obviously they help with those feelings of loneliness or isolation. But some of the benefits of having a pet include decreased blood pressure, decreased cholesterol levels, decreased triglyceride levels, which is cool. I actually have off and on in my life had high triglyceride levels, so hopefully my pets are helping to lower those. Then the decreased feelings of loneliness, as we said, increased opportunities for exercise and outdoor activities, which can help your health. Of course, the exercise is good for health, but then being outdoors, soaking up sun, etc. And increased opportunities for socialization. Obviously, of course, there's also times when pets are not healthy. If you are severely allergic, they can, be very not healthy. They can make you feel worse. Sometimes pets can carry harmful germs that can make us sick, even when the pet appears healthy. So before you adopt a new pet, you do, of course, there's a lot of consideration that needs to go into that. You need to pick the right pet for you and your family. So you should do some research, of course, beforehand. You should look into things like how long does the animal live? For instance, birds and like turtles birds can live up to 60 years depending on the birds. So can turtles. Turtles can live sometimes as long as 100 years. So if that's the case, and you are not young, you got to figure out, well, what are you going to do with this animal once you can no longer care for it? How much exercise does the pet need? How large is the pet going to get? How much does vet care cost? Do I have enough time for this pet so I can properly care for it, clean up after it, exercise it, whatever it needs? What type of habitat does the pet need? So our dogs are great. They have a dog door. They can run in and out, but our bearded dragons need calcium. They need specific kinds of light in appropriate amounts during the day. I don't know how they survive in the wild sometimes, because they need a lot of different things in order to be healthy and to survive. So all these things you need to consider in terms of having a pet, and is it going to be beneficial or is it not going to be beneficial? When you have a pet, of course, there are things that you should do in order to stay healthy. You should wash your hands after you touch the pet. You should wash your hands before you touch the pet because you want them to be healthy too. But definitely, wash your hands, do all of those things. There have been other studies on animals and health and how pets might affect your health. There have been over the past 10 years, NIH, which is the News in Health, News in Health has partnered with Mars Corporation's Waltham Center for Pet Nutrition to do research on pets and health benefits. Scientists are looking at what the potential physical and mental health benefits are for different animals, from fish to guinea pigs to dogs and cats. Now, research on this is still relatively new. Some studies have shown positive health effects, but results have, in fact, been mixed. Interacting with animals has been shown to decrease levels of cortisol, which is a stress-related hormone, and lower blood pressure. Other studies have found that, like the CDC article said, the animals can reduce loneliness, increase feelings of social support, and boost your mood. There is not one answer about how a pet can help somebody with a specific condition, explains Dr. Leila Esposito. So they've done studies on how interactions might affect children who have autism or ADHD or those types of things. So she says there's not one answer about how a pet can help somebody with a specific condition. Is your goal to increase physical activity? Then you might benefit from owning a dog. You have to walk a dog several times a day and you're going to increase physical activity. If your goal is reducing stress, sometimes watching fish swim can result in a feeling of calmness. So there's no one type fits all. In terms of some of the research being done, according to this article, researchers are studying the safety of bringing animals into hospital settings in terms of germs. There's a current study that's looking into how many germs are transferred from petting a dog, which can be dangerous in certain settings. And in a hospital environment, you don't want people to get sicker. But research has been done on dogs in the classroom to help with ADHD for kids to focus their attention, which might seem counterintuitive because you might think they would be more focused on the dog than on paying attention. But researchers enrolled 2 groups of children diagnosed with ADHD into 12-week group therapy sessions. The first group of kids read to a therapy dog once a week for 30 minutes. The second group read to puppets that looked like dogs. I've heard about this study of reading to dogs, and in addition to being adorable, it seems to help. Kids who read to the real animals showed better social skills and more sharing, cooperation, and volunteering. They also had fewer behavioral problems, which is awesome. Another study found that children with autism spectrum disorder were calmer while playing with guinea pigs in the classroom. When the children spent 10 minutes in a supervised group playtime with guinea pigs, their anxiety levels dropped. The children also had better social interactions and were more engaged with their peers. The researchers suggest that the animals offered unconditional acceptance, making them a calm comfort to the children. Dr. James Griffin says that animals can become a way of building a bridge for those social interactions. He adds that researchers are trying to better understand these effects and who they might help. The article goes on to say that animals may help you in other unexpected ways. A recent study showed that caring for fish helped teens with diabetes better manage their disease. Researchers had a group of teens with type 1 diabetes care for a pet fish twice a day by feeding and checking water levels. The caretaking routine also included changing the tank water each week. This was paired with the children reviewing their blood glucose or blood sugar logs with parents. The researchers tracked how consistently these teens checked their blood glucose. Compared with teens who weren't given a fish to care for, fish-keeping teens were more disciplined about checking their own blood glucose levels, which is essential for maintaining their health. So there are health benefits, and I'm really intrigued by these research projects that are being done. I love the stories, the research being done with ADHD and autism and bringing animals into the classroom to help with focus and attention. I love the therapy dog one, or the reading to a therapy dog. I have read articles on that before, and in addition, of course, to being adorable, it seems to be helpful, and it gives children more confidence because reading out loud, of course, gives children more confidence, but it's in a safe environment. A dog's not going to judge you when you stumble over a word. And if it can help give more focus, help them in other ways, I think it is wonderful. Which is going to bring us to our third segment. After we come back from the break, we'll be talking about therapy and emotional support dogs, how they can help with health, how they can help in general, and what exactly they are, how they are classified, etc. So stay tuned. You're listening to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast, and I will be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. stuff from news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. I am talking today about potential health benefits of owning pets, or potential health benefits of pets or animals in classrooms, helping children with various types of health issues, mental or physical. And that leads us to the concept of service animals or therapy dogs, emotional support animals, etc. And there is probably, if you're anything like me, you know what they are, but you're not exactly sure how they're classified, what constitutes an official service dog or emotional support dog. What's the difference between a service dog or animal and an emotional support animal? So let's talk a little bit more about that. And I've got information from the ADA about service animals and emotional support animals. Individuals with disabilities may use service animals and emotional support animals for a variety of reasons. They are defined by Title II and Title III of the ADA, the Americans with Disability Acts. A service animal means any dog that is individually trained to do work or perform tasks for the benefit of an individual with a disability, including a physical, sensory, psychiatric, intellectual, or other mental disability. Tasks performed can include, among other things, pulling a wheelchair, retrieving dropped items, alerting a person to a sound, reminding a person to take medication, or pressing an elevator button. Emotional support animals, comfort animals, and therapy dogs are not service animals under Title II and Title III of the ADA. Other species of animals, whether wild or domestic, trained or untrained, are not considered service animals either. The work or tasks performed by a service animal must be directly related to the individual's disability. It does not matter if a person has a note from a doctor that states that the person has a disability and needs to have the animal for emotional support. A doctor's letter does not turn an animal into a service animal. So some examples of animals that do fit the ADA's definition of service animal, because they have been specifically trained to perform a task for the person with a disability. Examples are guide dog or seeing eye dog, hearing or signal dog. That is one who has been trained to alert a person who has significant hearing loss or is deaf when a sound occurs, such as a knock on the door. There is a psychiatric service dog who has been trained to perform tasks that assist individuals with disabilities to detect the onset of a psychiatric episode and lessen their effects. I have actually read articles about these and some pretty compelling personal stories about psychiatric service dogs and how they are able to help. SSIG dog, which is sensory signal dogs, and social signal dogs. They are trained to assist a person with autism. The dog alerts the handler to distracting repetitive movements common among those with autism, allowing the person to stop the movement. And then there's seizure response dogs, a dog trained to assist a person with a seizure disorder. How the dog serves the person depends on the person's needs. The dog may stand guard over the person during a seizure, or the dog may go for help. A few dogs have learned to predict a seizure and warn the person in advance to sit down or move to a safe place. There are so many stories that you hear about service animals and the good that they do. I read an article once, it was anecdotal, but if it's true, it's great, about a woman on an airplane who had a dog with her who could sense when her blood sugar dropped. The dog started signaling that her blood sugar was dropping, and so she took her blood sugar, and it was fine. The man next to her was sleeping. She woke him up and asked if he was diabetic. He said yes, and she asked him to please take his blood sugar. It turns out his blood sugar had dropped drastically, which is partly why he was sleeping. And so the dog was able to alert and help prevent a much worse health issue for that person. Again, that could have been anecdotal. I don't know if it is true, but I know that there are very true stories of service dogs who have helped do amazing things and helped their owners. In terms of therapy dogs, the ones that aren't service animals per se, they aren't specifically identified as service animals. They can be just for, as they're called, emotional support. They can help with, calming people, comforting people, etc. You see a lot of these types of animals in, let's say, hospitals or nursing homes, where just the act of petting a dog or a cat can be comforting to certain people. You see a lot of those types. I was in an airport, April, I think when I was flying, and a guy was walking with an animal that had a service vest on. Normally you are supposed to leave service animals alone because they are working. You're not supposed to distract them. You're not supposed to pet them, etc. This one, though, his service vest said, "My name is," what was his name? Oh, I can't remember. It was a big, beautiful Labradoodle. And it said, "My name is," let's just call him Max. I am an airport service animal. Please pet me." And he just walked around the airport with his handler all day and greeted people and let them pet him. And he was a little distracted when we were talking to him, because he was very sensitive to children, and there was a baby crying, and he really wanted to go comfort the baby. So we gave him a quick pet. He was very sweet, and then we let him go do his job of finding that baby that he was worried about. It was so sweet. Pets are amazing. I wouldn't have said that. Maybe I still would have thought they were amazing, but I wouldn't have had personal experience with it. Pets are amazing, and they can be extraordinarily beneficial to health in a lot of ways, even if it's just companionship and that you love them, or if it's that you have an animal who helps you with daily tasks, or an actual service animal, or you have an animal who is able to provide comfort in stressful situations. Whatever it is, there are many, many health benefits of owning a pet. Again, there can be issues, some animals carry diseases. For instance, having a raccoon as a pet, it's not legal in all states, but lots of people do have raccoons as pets, but raccoons have diseases that can be transmitted to humans. So you need to be careful. Even if with a quote unquote regular pet, you still need to wash your hands a lot. You need to be careful, both to keep yourself healthy and to keep the animal healthy. Definitely keeping the animal healthy is going to help keep you healthy as well. Make sure you do a lot of research before you get a pet, especially if you have children or people in your household who have either allergies or other health problems that might make getting a pet more complicated or more difficult. Do your research. Find out what kind of pet is best for your family. Find out if you have the ability to be a good pet parent to that pet, and then bring that little guy or girl into your family and love on him, and let her love on you, and enjoy the health benefits of being a pet parent. So thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the GSMC Pets Podcast, also known as a prior episode of the GSMC Health and Wellness Podcast. But it's good information to know that your pets can definitely be a benefit to your health, especially during these times when many of us are isolated. Our pets can be an incredible comfort to us during this time. I hope, again, that you are staying safe and staying well. If you are a fan of this podcast, please do follow us on social media. Comment on social media. We love to hear from you, and we'll reply when we can. also give us a nice review, whether that be written or 5 stars. That really helps us to get the GSMC Pets podcast out to other pet lovers like yourselves. So thank you again for tuning in. Tune in tomorrow when Samantha will be talking about, let me see, I just saw her topic. Let me see, the songs of pets. Oh, so tune in to find out what she is going to talk about in terms of the songs of pets. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, stay hydrated, stay home. Thank you. You've been listening to the GSMC Pets Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all of the shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, from business news to weird news. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's podcast.